Hey Tribe, Catrice here. Today we are talking about developmental delays in toddlers, which is something that I am dealing with my own toddler, and I wanted to share all of the tools and resources that I have collected so far that we've seen a lot of growth with him. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm so excited. But before we get started, please make sure that you subscribe below. That really means a lot. Thanks. Okay, let's go. I'm not a doctor, so I am just telling you from my own experience what I have done and what has helped Ashton tremendously, and some information that I have found out that has helped as well. Some of you may know if you follow me on Instagram, which if you don't, you need to be. But my son, Ashton, is 2 years and 2 months old. His doctor noticed at around 15 months that he wasn't really talking and he wasn't really making eye contact. And she was a little concerned, but she said we can wait until 18 months to see if he's still not talking. And by then we'll have to really delve in deep and see what is going on and why he's not talking. And at around 18 months, we realized that he wasn't talking. He would say like ma, and da, but not a full mama or dada. So 18 months came and Ashton still wasn't talking. Not even a little bit. And now at this point, his ma, and da was pretty much non-existent. So I freaked out. I'm gonna be honest. I think that it is common for you to freak out. You don't know what's going on. Especially my oldest child hit all of his milestones early and was so ahead of, people his age or kids his age. And this son is not, even in growth and everything. He was behind a little bit. So I was freaking out. I automatically assumed autism, which I don't think it was crazy for me to assume that, because it gave me a lot of time to prepare in case he was, to mentally prepare myself. And I cried a lot because I felt like it was my fault. And we hadn't even got a diagnosis for anything. But in my mind, I thought he was autistic because he wasn't really making eye contact at all. He didn't answer to his name. He didn't really interact with other kids or, people. He didn't pretend play, things like that. And then he does this thing where he still does it, but it's better now. But where when he gets excited about something, he's like, ugh. It's really crazy, especially when we're out somewhere and when he's just chilling and all of a sudden he's like, ugh. And I'm like, yo, dude, stop. But, you gotta, that's my baby. I really have a great support system, and my mom and my dad and my sisters and my friends, and they each got a call of me crying at different phases of this whole thing. But every single one of them, as soon as I told them, they were sending me different, like notes and facts and this and look into this and call this person and do this. And it was awesome because every single person that they directed me to has helped Ashton in some way. The first thing, early intervention is key. If I would have known or really focused on it, because I really was not concerned until he was 18 months. The first moment you notice that your kid really isn't meeting a lot of milestones, like Ashton walked on time and he crawled on time, things like that. But other things that he wasn't really doing, like stacking blocks and things like that, I would pay attention to those things. So make sure every state has a program called infants and toddlers, or it might be called something different in each state, but it's an infant and toddler program, a development program. And you go and you take your kid to get evaluated. And after they're evaluated, they'll tell you, okay, yes, your child can benefit from this program, or no, your child is not delayed, they're just taking their time. So Ashton went, and Ashton was indeed very delayed. He didn't hit a lot of his milestones. Their report actually scared the shit out of me. I learned later that they're very, very extreme. So at 18 months, they try to say that Ashton was at an 8-month level. And I'm like, okay, he might not talk, but he can do a lot of things, So it's very scary. So take their evaluation seriously, but definitely get another opinion. So early intervention is key. That's number one. Make sure that if you see any signs of delay, you go to the doctor and then you take your child to be in the, or to get evaluated by the Infants and Toddlers program in your county. They provide speech therapists and other resources for whatever delays your child may have to help to catch them up, to be on the same page. So by the time they start school, they're up to pace with everyone else. I cannot tell you how many people, we've spoken to so many people, and every single person has said the same thing. You need to go in early, because a baby's brain, and I might not be explaining it correctly, but basically a baby's brain, from the moment they're born or from when they're in your belly to 5 years old, is molding and learning how to learn things and learning how to develop and process information, and it's very moldable. But once you get to 5 years old, you can still train a child to learn a different way and to understand things, but it's that much more difficult. So the earlier you get in, the earlier you can help get them on track. The second thing that I would say is, after you take them to infants and toddlers, I would most certainly say to find a speech therapist, a private speech therapist in your area, and get them to at least evaluate your child. This does cost money. We found an amazing speech therapist. She's actually a friend of ours from when we were younger. I've known her since she was younger. She's known me, and now she is a professor at Howard. She writes all these articles. She gets flown here and there to talk about people, and it just so happens that we know her. She used to work for my mom. We're like, she's amazing. So we got her to do an evaluation. And hers, the first thing she said was, the infants and toddlers program, it can be a little extreme. It can scare you a little bit. And her evaluation was way different for Ashton. He was actually, on every level, he was at least at average. It was only communication that he was way below average, which made me feel better, which is why I say you should get a second opinion too, so you can feel better about yourself. And if it is as severe as they're saying, okay, I know for sure this is a problem, and now I know how to tackle it. So the third thing, if you get into the infants and toddler program, whatever the speech therapist tells you to do, no matter how silly it seems, do it. And they'll tell you, do it for 20 minutes a day, do it for 10 minutes a day, that's all we want you to do. I incorporate that in everything that we do with Ashton. Anything that we're doing, there's like a ready, set, go exercise that she has us do. So now everything we do, it's like we're brushing our teeth, ready, set, go. Or we're going downstairs, ready, set, go. Or we're running to school, ready, set, go. Everything I try to incorporate all of the exercises as much as I can. And if they tell me to just do 5 minutes a day, then I'm doing 45 minutes to an hour a day, because you don't want to exhaust the kids. So you like spread it out, because then they'll get irritated. But the more you work with your kid, the more they grow and the more they learn and the more they process and their brains develop. And I have seen it just in the 2 months that Ashton has been a part of the program. CJ is my oldest son. That Ashton has been a part of the program. We have seen so much growth. Now at the same time, Ashton started school. That leads me to rule number 4. If your child has delays, one of the best things you could do is put your child in school. And this was the hardest thing we had to do, because Ashton was with my mother-in-law. We didn't have to pay her anything. It was free childcare, nothing. And then it was like, okay, well now we have to pay for him to be in school. It's like an extra $1,000 to $1,200 a month, and we had to wrap our heads around it. But again, it's your kid. You want to make sure that they are exposed to everything and they're getting the best help for not only their physical health, but their mental health. That is so important. So as soon as we put him in school, we saw a lot more. We noticed now he answers to his name. And then we realized nobody at home was calling him his name. Nobody in my family or my husband's family was calling him by his first name. We were calling him by nicknames. I call him Bubba's. My husband calls him Fats. CJ calls him Ashy Pants. So this man really didn't know what his name was. It wasn't that he was a processing kid. He didn't know what his name was. So we're like, okay, well that was on us. So getting your child in school, or even I know some parents who don't do school, but they do like 1 or 2 days a week. They take their kids to different activities that are for toddlers, just to get them around other kids, because them seeing other kids doing certain things inspires them to do those things as well. I think I'm on rule number 5. I'm pretty sure I am. Rule number 5, screen time. I have to be honest. I'm a screen time parent, 1000%. But you have to parent your kids different. I was a very heavy screen time parent with Ashton at first, which I feel like is some part of the reason, he has these delays. And the reason why I didn't think there was anything wrong with it is because my oldest son loved watching TV. He loved watching movies. He also loved talking and loved doing everything else, and has the highest test scores in his class, and he's very advanced. So I never knew how much it can affect a child, but every child is different. Every child learns differently. Every child processes differently. So it's important that if you see these delays, turn off the TV and limit the time. So the speech therapist, his pediatrician, and the other speech therapist through the state, because now he has 2 speech therapists now, the one that we pay and the one that we do through the state. Although you don't have to have the 2. We just did it because we really like the way that she works. But all of them said that 2 hours of screen time a day is fine. We cut it down to 1. But even when we first cut it down, we started at 2 hours. Even just that little change, we saw so much more interaction with him. And we were trying to get him to focus so bad before, but the TV would be on. So he would be kind of looking at the TV or, focus on that. He would not focus on us, but just us cutting off the TV. And we only let him watch it for an hour, or we'll let him watch like 1 movie. We're not trying. We won't turn off the movie in the middle of the movie. But we only let him watch like 1 movie. And then it has made, he interacts with us more. He looks at us in our eyes. So I would definitely say, even if you've had a child that was a screen time kid, and they were fine. They were, on time and did everything, according to the chart saying what they're supposed to be doing. If you have a child who is delayed in some areas, turn off that TV and only do certain times of the day that they have the TV. But don't let their lives be run by the TV. Because I know for me, I was most certainly turning it on when I was cooking, turning it on when I'm trying to do this, turning it on when I'm cleaning, turning it on when I'm helping with homework. And then it was like the TV was babysitting my child, basically. So I had to turn it off. It definitely is a lot more work for us because we have to keep him entertained while doing every single thing else that we're doing. But as a family, just get your family involved. And, when I'm cleaning or cooking, then the older boys have him. Or, when I need my alone time, then my husband has him. Or when my husband is doing something, then I have him. We just split it up, and you have to work as a team. Number 6. This one is a big one. So I had I don't want to call it a disease, but I had a condition. It's called hypochromia, and it's where I had severe anemia. It's very, very common in women, especially African American women, to have anemia due to fibroids. And so I knew I had a couple surgeries. I had to get iron IVs literally once a week, and I would have to be there for 8 hours getting my IV, iron put into me. And so when I got pregnant with Ashton, I still had hypochromia, very bad. And he, unbeknownst to me, he was being affected by it. It is very common that moms who have severe anemia, their children come out with a B12 deficiency. Now, the reason why this is important that I tell you guys, my mom actually found this, and my mom is married to a doctor, but Shorty came through, okay, on her own. She did her own research. So she came and she was like, Catrice, I was doing some research, because all of my family was, even though I was prepared and I felt like, I think maybe he does have autism, all of my family, even though they would love and accept him no matter what, my mom and my dad were just like, we just don't feel like he has it. We feel like there's something deeper. So that's when my mom started digging, and she found out that moms that have some severe anemia, their children can come out with a severe B12 disorder. If it is not treated, then it mimics those signs of autism. So a lot of times kids get misdiagnosed with autism when really they just have a B12 deficiency. So when that happened, then my mom did go to her doctor husband and she asked him what we could give him, what supplements we can give him to help really kick his brain into high gear to start building back those things that he was missing. And of course, I beat myself up. I felt like it was my fault. You know, I should have done better. I should have remembered more of my prenatal vitamins because I was terrible with that. I should have just done more. And now I know it's just not my fault. You know, this is just life. I didn't know. I wasn't purposely doing this. But my mom and my stepdad found this cream, and I'll put the link below. It's called I might read this wrong, Neuromethylation Cream. So it's like a very, very, very concentrated B12 cream. You need to talk to your doctor though before you give your child this. But what we do with Ashton is we do a half a pump every night after he takes a bath on his back, on the small of his back, and you rub it in, and that's it. I also give Ashton these chewy gummy vitamins. These aren't the same as an everyday vitamin because these are focused on brain health. So it has this, it's called Smarty Pants, and this is the Toddler Complete. And it has omega-3s, vitamin D3 for bones, vitamin B12 for immunity. It's very geared, all of the vitamins in this are geared to brain health for your toddler. You can use any, after speaking to your doctor, you can use any vitamin supplement, you know, that's B12 related for kids. But you need to make sure, one thing that my stepdad said is to make sure that there's no iron in there, because if you use these together, because and I think even if you don't use it together, because iron can constipate babies and toddlers. So just be careful with this one. This one does not have, not be careful with this one, be careful with what you choose. This one does not have iron in it. So I give Ashton 2 of these a day, and then I put this on at night. It has helped a lot. And the thing is, everything is happening at one time. He's in school, he's taking his vitamins, he has 2 speech therapists now. So there's so many different things going on. It's very hard to say this specifically is really helping him, which is why I'm telling you guys everything. Now he's 2 years, 2 months. He started his speech therapy and everything. He started school February 1st, which is when he started speech therapy, which is when he started the vitamins. So for about 2 months now, a little over 2 months now, and we have seen significant changes. He's not talking yet, but even when we spoke to the speech therapist, she said that you shouldn't there's so many different things that we're teaching him. We're teaching him how to learn and process information, and not only understand what other people are telling him, but how he can communicate how he feels and what he wants to do. So we're showing him in other ways. She said the words are easy, but you definitely have to show him how to learn and communicate first and understand that before we go on to the words. So right now we're getting him to do eye contact. He's like looking us straight in the face. He knows when he's in trouble. He knows when he's not supposed to do anything or do something, and he does it anyway. He answers his name at least 80% of the time. He looks at us as soon, when we call his name, or if we say we're gonna come get you, Ashton, he starts running. He doesn't even have to look at us to know. What else does he do? He plays with little blocks now. He plays with his puzzles now, which before he would just look past it. He opens books, and even though that man cannot read, he opens it like he's reading and looks at the words and turns his head. So these little things to parents who their children are, they're where they should be developmentally. This may be like, well, duh. But for a parent that has a delayed child, it feels so good to know, okay, he's changing. I would die if he said, Mama, I would die. I'm waiting for that day. But it still hasn't come, and I just have to learn to be patient, which goes to rule number 7. This is 10. Why did I say 10? Rule number 7. You have got to keep yourself together. I was a hot mess. From 18 months to 20 months, I think I was in such denial that there was anything wrong. I was like, nah, it'll be fine. Or then I was like, he has autism. And you know, there's so many things going on in your head. And then when doctors are like, I'm not sure if he has autism, maybe, but it's too early to diagnose. And now I know, okay, I just, like when he started, I knew there's no more time for tears. Okay, get your tears out. I cried for, in the beginning, at least 2 weeks straight. If you have other kids, it was another thing that I had to do with my older boys. I had to tell them. I kept them up to date. Look, your brother might have autism. They said that there's a chance that he could have autism. We need to help him. We need to be there for him all the time. We need to do these little exercises that they're telling us all the time. We need to saturate his brain with this so that he can grow and thrive. And now if you talk to me in December, I would have said, I really think my son has autism. Now, and I'm starting to see him grow, and I'm starting to see him develop and learn more and take things in and apply the things that we're showing him. I don't think that he does. I don't. And if he still does, that doesn't matter. We're still going to help him. We're still going to teach him. He's still going to be a member of society, and he's still going to be an amazing human being. But as a mom, it's the hardest thing to do, because no matter how sad you are, no matter how overwhelmed you are, at the end of the day, you got to learn to swallow those tears and be there for your kid. And you can't focus correctly if you're depressed, and that is where I was going. And I had to pull myself out and say, it is not about me. It's not about how sad I am. I'm not helping my child by crying all the time. This is not helpful. So if you have any other questions, you can go on Instagram and DM me, or you can message me. I will try to keep you guys posted. I'm going to try to do another one of these in about 2 months. And when I do that one, hopefully, I will be able to have Ashton's speech therapist on with us. She wanted to wait to come on and do an interview because she wanted to be able to provide the results of Ashton. So I'm very excited to share this guy with you guys. And if you are a mom who is going through it and you're sad and you're crying right now, I feel you and I understand you. I know how sad you are, but I promise it gets better. It does. You just have to really dedicate yourself to your kid, and you really, really have to do research and don't do research on if your child has autism. Do research on what I can do to help my child get on track. Look up little exercises. Look up different things that you can do that can help. It really makes a big difference. So I hope that you guys like this video. Please let me know below. Like this video and follow me on Instagram and Facebook if you're not, because we are a tribe, and you can't be a part of the tribe if you're not following me on Instagram. Hello. So I had a great time, and I will see you guys next time.